Now, this is breaking, obviously, as of today. A lot of you have heard about this already. This absolutely evil situation going on in Idaho. Before we dive into the story itself, when I first heard about this, it was this morning. And for those of you who don't know, here's what happened. There was a forest fire outside Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And as of course, the firefighters were called in, the first responders, who responded because they were there to protect American lives and American property. They were responding. They were the heroes. They were there as American protectors. What they didn't find was just a forest fire. What they encountered was a forest fire and the face of sheer evil in the midst of it, a monster with a sniper rifle who started opening fire and downed 3 firefighters, 2 of which have lost their lives. The third, I think, still clings to life in the hospital. This is the face of evil. And this is what we are facing in America for a myriad of reasons. Some of them, because we have let people into this country that don't belong here. Others because we have allowed people in our country to be radicalized by the education system, by other groups. But this is an absolutely horrific tragedy, especially for those families of the firefighters who went up that mountain to fight one monster, fire, but they encountered a wholly different monster, a far more evil monster, and they won't be coming home. So I want to dive into this story because already the left is trying to spin this as some right-wing extremist, which is absolutely and completely false. As far as everything that I can see. Now, the story is still unfolding. We don't have a lot of positives, but we are going to talk about we are going to debunk a lot of the negatives that the media has been trying to throw out there. All right, here we go. Let's check out this video first as we get into this story, which is just, again, a complete and utter tragedy. We are in Coeur d'Alene. Police responders have rolled up. They pulled the firefighters out. And I want to show you, this is the procession because the American patriots did show up in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, thankfully. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho is not Portland, Oregon. So here's American patriots responding to what was going on there.
Live pictures out of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. We have been following developments throughout the day of firefighters being ambushed when responding to a call for a brush fire in a local park there. What you're seeing now, we're told, is a procession coming out of that park. We saw at least one vehicle that appeared to be a hearse. You see people there, of course, waving flags, standing, lining the route there. There had been, we were told a number of hours ago, an active shooter who they believed was on the loose. We do know at this hour that a body was found on the mountain, a firearm found nearby. It is not clear whether that was the suspect. But just to recap of how we got to this moment, that there is now this procession leaving the park, all of these law enforcement vehicles, as you can see. You see the fire trucks there as well. And again, we saw just a short moment ago what appeared to be at least one hearse. A little after 1 o'clock local time, there was a call of a brush fire. Firefighters responded, and then another call came in at 2 o'clock of firefighters reporting that shots had been fired. 2 firefighters we're told were killed. A third, according to a firefighters union, is in the hospital now in surgery. The sheriff, just within the last couple of hours, holding an initial press conference confirming those 2 deaths, saying it was unknown whether there could be other casualties or civilians who could be stuck on the mountain. And at that time, again, just a few hours ago, the sheriff is saying that they were actively taking sniper fire, noting that they were prepared to neutralize the suspect, who appeared to be using, in the words of the sheriff, a modern-day sporting rifle, a high-powered rifle. Not long ago, I spoke with a local reporter who's based out of Spokane, Washington. That's only about 30 miles away, and this is essentially the same media market. She was telling me she's with the spokesman.
Okay. And so here I want to show you one more video. This is of the actual procession as it proceeded down the mountain. This is American patriot stuff right here. This is what the media hates for you to see because this is Americans coming together. Now, of course, the left-wing media is already trying to spin this as some sort of right wing extremist, and they're going to do so. They're going to try to do so. The story they're going to tell is, oh, his parents were MAGA. Like that has anything to do with what you are as a child, especially as a teenager. Now, so far, this is the news that we have, is that the shooter has been identified as 20-year-old Wes Rowley, that he was found deceased with the weapon. It is unknown if he took his own life or was neutralized by law enforcement. We don't have that yet. Here's a picture of him. Here's more pictures of him, which you'll notice look distinctly, shall we say, androgynous. But I do
We
want
had
to get
a
into this
cell
real
phone.
quick video. Now, first responders and police are saying that they believe he set the brush fire. He set it intentionally to get firefighters to roll up so that he could basically take target practice. So it's amazing because he was there to terminate firefighters that had nothing to do with him. You cannot cite angst with law enforcement as a reason for shooting firefighters. You cannot cite angst with MAGA or Trump or anybody else as an excuse to shoot firefighters. Firefighters who rush into active burning buildings, no matter who is in there. They don't ask, are you Republican or Democrat? Are you left or right? Are you pro-Israel or pro-Hamas or any of the other divisions that the propaganda media has foisted upon us as Americans? Firefighters don't ask those questions. They run into the building, they bring people out, and they ask questions later. And frankly, they never ask the questions. It's only us that ask the questions afterwards. They simply put their lives on the line every day in a generally thankless job. And here they get targeted for no other reason than they were American heroes, American patriots, and American protectors. And they were targeted by a nutcase, a 20-year-old kid who, as far as we know, and then what we've seen, spent time in the Soviet Union. It's amazing what little we know. Again, if this was actually a right wing extremist, realize that they would have his entire Twitter feed, his entire Facebook history, everything would be out there for everyone to see. But we have very little. Why? Because he's kind of a nutcase. What we do know, and I've got some stories here. So let me pull this up. His parents are evidently, from what we can tell, they are Trump supporters. But Rowley had a no contact order with his parents because he threatened them. So he's obviously a nutcase. His parents are publicly MAGA supporters. He was convicted of assault on a woman, received a 6-month jail sentence. He served 30 days, with 150 being suspended. He is not MAGA. He has no ties to MAGA. The questions we probably should be asking ourselves are, was he on medication? What medication was he on? Was he on mind-altering medications such as Prozac or other antidepressants, which are in 99% of mass shooter cases, one of two things or both are present, either father absence or the presence of mind-altering medications, prescription medications, or both. Now, there are some people talking, hey, this sounds like an MK Ultra situation. Read the book Chaos. If you have not already read the book Chaos, please do. It'll open your mind to a whole lot of possibilities of what the government can do and the dark side of some of the elements of the United States government. Most of you who watch my show already know what I think about the elements, the deep state elements of our government, the CIA and others. But do not be taken in. Do not be fooled. Wes Rowley is not a MAGA Republican. Wes Rowley has no ties that anyone can find to MAGA. What the media are out there purporting as the story is simply a story, and it's a concocted one at that. Yes, his parents are MAGA supporters. What the media will never tell you is that he had a no contact order with his parents. What the media will never tell you is that he did 6 months, he was sentenced to 6 months for assaulting a woman. What the media won't tell you is that he lived in the USSR for a spell. What the media won't tell you and show you are the pictures of him that look distinctly like he might be, undergoing some level of transition, gender transition. Whether he's not or not, I have no idea. But the pictures tell a different story. So it's just amazing because the media is out there peddling a story, not the story. So don't get taken in by him. When people try to tell you some ridiculous lie, don't buy into it. And again, I do want to. So here's the report. Wes Rowley, 20-year-old suspect born in the Soviet Union, previously residing in New York and Florida, is linked to an attack on firefighters and first responders. So some of this stuff is unconfirmed. Exactly. Was he born in the Soviet Union? And how he came to be in America and so forth. But I wanted you to see this. This is just crazy, crazy stuff. But I did want to show one video because, again, this goes back to if they really, really, really had evidence that he was MAGA, we would already have every single thing about him. Check this out.
Fighters who were shot and killed Sunday while responding to a fire in Idaho. CNN's Veronica Miracle joins us. You have some new information about the shooter, right?
That's exactly right, Pam. We now know that the shooter has been identified as 20-year-old Wes Rowley. That's according to a law enforcement source who spoke to our CNN's Mark Morales. Now, beyond that information, beyond his age and his name, we don't know exactly what his motivations were. That is still under investigation. But investigators say that he started a fire intentionally and lured firefighters in and began shooting at them. He was blended into the mountains, so they didn't know if there were multiple shooters.
The reason they have no other information is because they have no information that fits their narrative. If he was actually a MAGA supporter, they would have his entire social media history. They would have a manifesto. They would have every contact he had ever made with any person, living or dead, within the last 10 years. They would have it all spread all over the news. No, the reason they have no other information is because they can't find any information that supports he's a right-wing extremist narrative. And probably what they do have supports that he is either a left-wing extremist or he's been plagued by all the other problems that mass shooters have been plagued with. So one of those two things is true. What is absolutely not true, based on the fact that they have no information, is that he's a right-wing extremist. So just take that to the bank. I don't know anything else other than what I know, what we all don't know, and that is that he's not a right-wing extremist. So just bookmark this. I think you'll find in the future that he was either left-wing or that he was potentially, one of these people that was wound up and set loose with prescription medication and mind control and other things. But there were other stories earlier in the day talking about potential other people involved, one of them ostensibly a member of the IRGC. Those stories have disappeared, so I don't know if they were just people floating them out on social media, if there was ever actually any truth to them. But we will continue to monitor this story. So I told you what I know. I will not speculate beyond that. But thanks everybody for rolling up. Really appreciate everybody being here. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you really like the channel, share with everybody that you know. Share Courageous Media. Also join us as a member of the Courageous Army on YouTube or on Patreon. Thanks so much for rolling up. Really appreciate you being here. Remember, God is good and he is sovereign. It'll all be good in the end. Till I catch you next time.